This video was brought to you in part by my Patreon patrons. If you want to support my channel for only $2 a month, you gain access to my private Discord server where, trust me, all the coolest folks in the world hang out, behind-the-scenes bonus content including details on secret upcoming projects, and even early videos. If you're interested in helping me out and joining this awesome community, just head to patreon.com/arlostuff. It's a good joke. Another day, another Nintendo doing a bad. Doing a yucky bad thing that we don't like, and all of the YouTubers and the media outlets saying stuff about it. Going through the whole rigmarole. That's a good word. People don't use that word enough. Rigmarole. It's one of those words like I've only heard used in context, but I've never looked up. What does it mean? Let's look up what it means. Am I even using it correctly? Rigmarole. A long and complicated process that is annoying and seems unnecessary. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that could sum it up that way, but this is what we do. This long, complicated, annoying, unnecessary process of talking about Nintendo, it's enjoyable to us, so we do it. Anyway, Nintendo put out a thing saying, in early April 2024, online play and other functionality that uses online communication will end for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U software. This also includes online cooperative play, internet rankings, and data distribution. A while back, they shut down the eShops for both systems, but at the very least, you could still play the games and play online, and there was, all that kind of stuff. But now it seems that even that is going away. One thing worth noting, this counts for games that use Nintendo's own online infrastructure, which is probably a lot of them. But theoretically, there could be third-party games that use their own servers to host all this stuff that could keep going. In theory, I suppose. So there's at least a chance there will be a handful of games that are still functioning after all of this. Possibly. But most of it is going away in early April next year, and it is very funny. Nintendo thought to include this. Please note that if an event occurs that would make it difficult to continue online services for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U software, we may have to discontinue services earlier than planned. It almost I assume they mean if something happens to the network, I don't know, if someone hacks it or something, we're not gonna bring it back up again, which I don't know. I get what they're saying, and I get they're just covering themselves. It is good to tell us that. That is technically a thing that could happen, but it's almost like they're daring people to bring the service down. It's almost like they're daring people. They're just putting a big target on it and being like, hey, everybody, DDoS attack or whatever the heck you do to this and bring it down. It's almost like a challenge. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And we do have confirmation at the very least that Street Pass is still gonna work, because Street Pass uses local communication and Nintendo can't really shut that down, nor would they even want to. So it is good that Street Pass is still a thing people are gonna be able to do. Shout out to Xeon from Nintendo Life for keeping the Street Pass dream alive. Although apparently, you're not gonna be able to get new puzzle pieces, which is unfortunate because that was the main reason I don't Street Pass anymore, but that was the main reason I wanted to, was to collect the puzzle pieces, but you get puzzle pieces through Spot Pass. So, yeah, that is unfortunate, but you can still Street Pass. But everything else is going online play, yeah, leaderboards, that kind of thing. Any kind of online sharing between games and people. And this is, of course, unfortunate. Obviously, this is just features that are being taken away for two rather big libraries of games. Wii U wasn't a huge library, but 3DS was a very big library. Lots and lots of games used these services. And of course, as with the eShop closures, the same kinds of arguments and things get kind of thrown around. Yes, it's inevitable. Yes, it's something that has to happen eventually. Company doesn't want to keep supporting these services and potentially paying for them and all that stuff, especially if these kinds of things can kind of potentially pose security risks and all that. But once again, I say it does feel soon. It feels like just yesterday they shut down the eShops. It would have been nice if at least the services could have continued just a little bit longer. And once again, I use the argument that Wii U is one thing, but it is weird that the 3DS had releases up until just a few years ago. Just a few years ago, Nintendo was actively selling software on the system. So to shut it down, it just feels a little bit too soon. And I will admit, I am not gonna be personally very affected by this. eShop closures were way bigger. That's a really, really huge deal. You know, I might want to like pick up a 3DS or Wii U game or something at some point, and oh, look at that. I can't do it anymore. This specifically, I had no plans on using any of these functions in any of these games. Probably never again, if I'm honest with myself. But there are plenty of people that do like to use this stuff, that are playing these old games and using this online functionality. And of course, with the recent resurgence of Street Pass, people trying to fill out their puzzles. And it is sad, but I will say, it's a lot more understandable in this case. eShop, like that's a big deal. Oh my gosh, this is a game preservation thing. You know, people sometimes still want to buy these games. Do you not want us to give you money? That's a library access thing. So that to me seemed a little weird that they want to take those down so soon. This is a lot more understandable. If the eShops are down and Nintendo is moving past these platforms, it just makes a lot more sense from a business standpoint. This isn't even money that they're throwing away. This isn't even like, you know, like an opportunity for them to make money. This is literally just functionality for old software that probably a very, very, very small percentage of their player base is actually using. There are people using the online functionality for these old games, but it's got to be such a small amount of people that like, I can see them not caring. You know, like I completely get it. It's like, as a consumer, yes, I would like it if these things were still available. I like if people would have access to them, but I can't fault them that much for shutting it down. Keeping all these services going just for the benefit of like the 12 people that still play Scarescraper on Luigi's Mansion 2. You know what I mean? Like, Switch is now. Switch is happening. And even that, they're even getting ready to move on to another system. Like, they're moving forward. So just keeping online functionality for these really old games, I get it. I completely get it. I don't want them to do it, but I'm not gonna put up too much of a fight. You know, I'm not gonna make too big of a stink at them about it. It really is gonna be sad to see a lot of these things go, though. The first thing that jumps to my mind, I know most people are looking at like online multiplayer games, you know, like Smash and all that stuff. To me, when I heard the news, the very, very first thing that jumped into my mind was Mario Maker. Cause yeah, Smash, Splatoon, Mario Kart, people are playing online. Like that's, you know, that's a big thing. But for me, it's more about the content that people have created. In Mario Maker, you have such a vast library of user-created content, and it seems like such a shame to just flush that down the toilet, you know? And I know we've got Mario Maker 2, and pretty much everything you could do in Mario Maker 1, you can do in 2, so people have probably recreated their levels, and I know there's some differences between them, so it's not like a huge deal, but like, I don't know how many courses are there for people to use, but it's just sad. It's sad to see them all go. There's also very much like this kind of like FOMO thing in my mind right now, where it's like, I don't care about any of this personally right now, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna boot up a game at some point and be like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play this game, and there's just some little feature on there that I didn't realize I wasn't gonna be able to access anymore, you know what I mean? That very much could happen, and that's like the main thing about this that has me worried. It's just like, oh, what if I care a lot about this later? And I'm sure there are a lot of games that are gonna be completely gutted, that just barely even function as games anymore, you know? Like, that's the problem with this. I think it was a little bit easier to take when Wii stuff, like when the online got shut down for that. But like, the further you go through the history, the more and more these games are designed to utilize online features. So now with 3DS and Wii U, like, online functionality, that was a big deal. That was legitimately a selling point for these systems and a lot of these games, that you could do stuff online. So it is much harder to take this time around, that all of that is just getting stripped away. These libraries are just, yeah, they're being gutted to a degree. And that is a bummer. There's a bit of a silver lining though. This is new to me. I had to like read other people's articles and stuff about this to really know that this was a thing. Pretendo Network. This is like an open source community thing where basically people are creating their own version of the Nintendo Network and kind of like restoring online functionality to a bunch of stuff. They've already been doing a lot of work restoring a version of Miiverse which is super cool. And now I'm sure they're all going to be working triple time to try to, get things rolling again, try to get it so that people can actually play Wii U and 3DS games online together again. I don't know exactly how much they can achieve on this front. Again, this is something I just learned about. I don't know how much can be restored and recreated and all that stuff. But hey, fans doing what Nintendo don't is always a cool thing, as long as Nintendo continues to let them. I don't know if there's any weird legal shadiness here. I don't know if what they're doing is against the law or not. No clue, but it's cool that they're doing it. So there you go, another sad day in the realm of Nintendo. But at least we got until April next year. It's some time, half a year or something. That's some time. Although it is unfortunate, even though I would say that this is less impactful than the eShops going offline. At least when the eShops were going offline, you could go and buy the games you wanted to have. This is different though. This is affecting the games that you do already have. So in a way, that's something that is not avoidable. It's not something that you can future-proof. Oh, let me go buy it before it goes down. Nah, this really is just going away. And that is a shame. So if you're one of those people who's been trying just for the impossible task of getting all of the puzzle pieces, has anyone done that? Gosh, they would release a new puzzle every 4 seconds. I dreamed about completing it, but I just never could. But if you wanted to do that, you better get on it now. You better start Street Pass, and you better start going to cons and stuff. Connect with Xeon. He like I said, he's keeping the dream alive. I just went to PAX, and he did a whole entire Street Pass meetup. A bunch of people showed up, so go do those things if that's important to you. Thank you for watching. Please have a good day. I love you so very, very much. A goodbye.